Today we're taking a look at these NFL matches, which are happening on Sunday, January 1st, 2023, and giving you match breakdowns, betting tips and predictions in general on these games. Welcome back to High Stakes. Before we dive into our video, don't forget to subscribe and push that notification bell to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos. Also, check out our perks and join the High Stakes membership. Joining the High Stakes membership is easy, is cheap, but it will help a lot in the growth process of this channel. Plus check out our Patreon in the link down below if you want access for our premium picks. Our Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. Multiple plans are available for each and every one of you. Stop wasting hours of your time searching for bad betting predictions that ends up costing you a lot of time and money. Join the High Stakes Patreon now and get the best betting picks. Going back to our games for today, make sure to watch our videos till the end so you don't miss any of our picks. One more thing before we start, check out our new channel High Stakes Props and Parlays, where you can find our player props and parlay picks predictions, and check out High Stakes DFS Strategy if you are into lineup picks, analysis, and advice for DFS. You will find links for both channels in the description and comments section below. Houston Texans vs Jacksonville Jaguars. Houston may have picked up a win last week, but that was against a reeling Tennessee team playing a rookie quarterback. The Jaguars have won 3 straight games and 4 of 5 to push themselves into a potential playoff appearance. Jacksonville took care of business against the Jets last week, and they are out to avenge their loss to Houston earlier this season at home. The Texans miss Pierce, who gave them a legitimate run threat, as Freeman and Burkhead both have struggled to do much of anything with their opportunities. This game means a lot to Jacksonville, even with next week's showdown, because you want to maintain momentum. The Jaguars are on a roll, and they take care of business here to make it 4 straight wins. Our team pick is Jacksonville Jaguars -4 points. Divisional games are usually close and lower scoring. This isn't likely to be a higher scoring game. Lawrence has been playing his best football, but the Houston defense has still been decent for much of the season, holding the Titans to 14 points and containing the Chiefs' offense for most of the game 2 weeks ago. Jacksonville is more balanced now. The Jaguars are likely to be able to build an early lead and then focus on running the ball. Jacksonville also has a huge game next week against the Titans. They will want to run to shorten the game and make sure the team is healthy for next week if they are able to build an early lead, as is likely. Our total pick is under 43 points. Kansas City Chiefs vs Denver Broncos. Denver was a complete disaster last Sunday, allowing the Rams to score on their first 8 drives. By the end of the first half, the Broncos trailed 31-6 as Brandon McManus hit a couple of field goals. The Broncos finished the game with 323 total yards, while the Rams gained 388, going 5 for 6 in the red zone. Wilson put on another hideous performance in Week 16. He went 15 of 27 for 214 yards, a touchdown, and 3 interceptions, while Brett Rypien was 4 of 8 for 45 yards and an interception in relief. The Broncos rushed 20 times for 104 yards. Jerry Jeudy led the way for the receiving corps with 6 catches for 117 yards, and Greg Dulcich added 4 receptions for 39 yards and a touchdown. Patrick Mahomes completed 16 of his 28 passing attempts for 224 yards and a couple of touchdowns. He also scored once on his own to give the Chiefs a 24-3 lead in the fourth quarter. Travis Kelce had 6 catches for 113 yards, Jerick McKinnon posted 3 receptions for 31 yards and a touchdown, while Isaiah Pacheco carried the pigskin 14 times for 58 yards. The Chiefs covered a 10-point spread last Sunday to snap a 3-game ATS skid. It was their 3rd Sioux victory in a row and the 8th in 9 games. The Chiefs remained tied with the Buffalo Bills for the best record in the AFC. Kansas City ranked 2nd in the NFL in points scored, 29.2 per game, 1st in passing yards, 303.5, and 17th in rushing yards, 117.1. Back in Week 14, the Chiefs outlasted the Broncos 34-28 as 9-point road favorites. Patrick Mahomes tossed for 352 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions, while Russell Wilson threw for 247 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. Kansas City nearly blew a 27-0 lead, and I'm expecting to see a better performance from the Chiefs when they host the Broncos in Week 17. Denver's defense fell apart last Sunday and will have a mountain to climb at Arrowhead Stadium. The Chiefs' defense will improve this time around, so I'm going with the hosts to cover a huge 12.5-point spread. Kansas City hasn't covered in 5 straight games against its divisional rivals, but the Chiefs are 10-4 at TS in their previous 14 meetings with the Broncos. Our first pick is Kansas City Chiefs -12.5 points. The Broncos are averaging 15.5 points per game and 14.9 points per game on the road. They averaged 20.3 points per game in their last 3 games against the Chiefs. With Kansas City giving up 18.7 points per game at home, the Broncos will hit their average in this game. The Chiefs are averaging 29.2 points per game and 24.9 points per game at home. They average 28 points per game in their last 3 games against the Broncos. With Denver giving up 23.3 points per game on the road, the Chiefs will score enough points to push the score over the total. The Broncos and Chiefs played over the total in their last 2 meetings. Our second pick is take the over, 45 points. New York Giants vs Indianapolis Colts. The Indianapolis Colts entered this one looking to snap a 5-game losing streak. They have also lost 8 out of their last 9 games in what's best classified as a disaster season. Indianapolis allowed a 33-0 lead to slip away in an overtime road loss to the Vikings on the 17th and were marked small 3.5-point dogs in a 23-home loss against the Chargers on Monday night. Their last win occurred back on November 13th. The Colts have covered the spread in 1 out of their last 3 games. Jonathan Taylor is on the IR and will not play. That leaves Zach Moss and Dean Jackson. Moss was acquired from the Bills earlier this season and collected 65 yards last week. Moss has 268 rushing yards on 4.5 yards per carry. Michael Pittman Jr. made a solid 10 catches against the Vikings, followed by only 4 last week. The 25-year-old WR has eclipsed 100 receiving yards twice and has accrued 854 receiving yards on the season. The Indianapolis offense has scored 19 or fewer points in 4 out of its last 5 performances. The New York Giants are glad to be home after 2 road games. The defense was stellar in a 2012 road victory against the Commanders and followed that up with a narrow 27-24 road loss to a first-place Vikings squad on Christmas Eve. They were 4.5-point dogs in that one. New York has only won 2 out of their last 6 games but is in good shape in the NFC wildcard standings, holding a 1.5-game cushion. They have covered the spread in 4 out of their last 5 games. Saquon Barkley has rushed for over 80 yards in back-to-back games. The 25-year-old star RB is having a productive season, logging a remarkable 1,254 rushing yards on an average of 4.4 yards per carry. Darius Slayton brought in 79 receiving yards last week. The 25-year-old WR has 710 receiving yards on the year. Sterling Shepard remains on the IR. The New York offense has averaged 22 points in their last 3 clashes. The Colts have been a disaster and have plummeted out of playoff contention. They have now dropped 8 out of their last 9 games. The Giants are looking to get closer to a playoff spot and almost earned a big road win against the Vikings last week. Their last 2 losses have been against the first-place Eagles and Vikings. Furthermore, the Giants prefer to run and continue to have success fueled by Barkley. This is ideal when considering the Colts often struggle to contain the run. They are allowing an average of 122 rushing yards per game, landing them 20th. The Giants rank 6th in rushing yards per game also. The Colts defense has been exploited, allowing an average of 34 points in their last 4 games. Don't expect much from the Colts offense in this one. Matt Ryan was benched due to his struggles week and his replacement Nick Foles tossed 3 picks in his lone game last week. Foles has been named the starter for this game. Our team pick is New York Giants minus 5.5 points. The weather is expected to be mild with temperatures unseasonably warm in the 50s. These 2 teams only have 10 games combined this season that has hit the over, however, the last 3 meetings between the 2 have gone over by plenty and with totals much larger than this. In fact, the last 4 meetings all would have eclipsed this total. With the mild weather, I feel we'll have some better offensive performances. The Colts should really only need to get us 2 touchdowns, which they have done in 7 of their last 10 games. The Giants have enough firepower to handle the rest. Jones looked great last week and they should test that alley out a bit more in hopes it can be a viable option come playoff time. Saquon Barkley is just 54 yards and 1 touchdown away from tying career highs, so look for him to be highly involved as well, which helps out the cause. Our total pick is over 38.5 points.